hear an argument to make the city the second municipality in BC to ban the sale of puppies and kittens from pet stores. Back in April, a bylaw in Richmond came into effect with such a ban, and Toronto is the only other city in Canada to ban the sale of puppies and kittens by pet stores. We'd like to hear from you right now. Do you think that pet stores should be banned from selling puppies and kittens in particular? Please pick up the phone, 1-800-825-5950, and tell us why you think one way or the other. If you're in the Lower Mainland, 604-669-3733, the cell phone star or pound 690. And with me on the phone is Kathy Powelson. She's the executive director of the Paws for Hope Animal Foundation and is speaking at Burnaby Council this evening. And Kathy, welcome to BC Almanac today.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
You want to see a ban on the sale of puppies and kittens, I think rabbits as well, from
Rabbits as well, yeah.
pet stores in Burnaby. Why is that?
There's really four major issues with the retail sales of puppies, kittens, and rabbits. One is the inhumanity of these mills and the tremendous social cost that this comes with. The other is that it contributes to the overpopulation of companion animals in our province. And the third one is it becomes a taxpayer burden. Many of these animals do become surrendered for various reasons and end up at our municipal shelters. And it's a consumer protection issue. One of the things that I will be highlighting tonight is a story of a woman who purchased a dog at Pet Habitat in Brentwood Mall 8 years ago. And in the 8 years that she's had this dog, she has spent over $32,000 on vet bills to care for her dog. And
what does the pet store have to do with that?
Well, the pet store is liable. I mean, if this is something that they've bought, I mean, arguably it's a defective item. But the pet stores are getting these animals from mills, which are breeding factories for animals, and they're horrendous conditions. Many of these animals come to the store sick, and they're being purchased sick.
Is it always the case that they get them from mills?
They never get them from a reputable source. So if they're not coming from a mass breeding mill, they will come from what we call backyard breeders, and they're not necessarily have the best interests of the animal in mind. It is a profit. They're doing it for profit, and so they're not breeding for health issues. Often animals that are particularly dogs that are sold to pet stores will have health issues that are common to that breed, such as hip dysplasia, epilepsy, liver disease, depending on the breed. It's very common that animals will have respiratory infections from the overcrowding that they're in. And to be a responsible breeder, to be registered with the Canadian Kennel Club, you're not allowed to sell to pet stores. So if you're buying an animal from a pet store, it is not coming from a reputable source.
Okay, I don't think most consumers are aware of that, and this is one of the reasons that you are bringing forward this request for a ban to Burnaby. And I see we have lots of calls coming in as well from listeners who are going to comment whether or not they think there should be a ban. There is one in Richmond and Toronto, the only two Canadian jurisdictions that we're aware of that have this now, and Kathy Powelson would like to see that extended to Burnaby. What do you think, Peter, in Vancouver? Should there be a ban?
No, I don't think so, because what ended up happening was we had two cats that we took to the SPCA for about 15 years. One died, and they took really good care of us in the hospital. And then when it came time to get another cat, we went over to the other side, the adoption area, and asked, okay, we're ready now. And she was like, oh, no, we need a note from your landlord, da-da-da. That's fine. I said, just go to the other side. And you can see we've had cats for 15 years. And oh, no, she was quite militant. And then we went, I said, well, fine, lady. We'll check out some other sites. Went over to some kitten rescue, and they wanted to come to our house and look at our house and everything, and it was kind of strange. So finally, I went to Brentwood Mall, to a pet store that's out of business right now, and bought our cat Zuzu for $100. And she's been great ever since, and I was just really put off about the way all these self-righteous animal people want to come check your house and think they know what's best for you and la la la. That's my comment.
Okay, Peter, thank you. What do you think, Kathy?
I think that the reason, that's part of the issue is that pet stores don't screen potential families. And so the reason that rescue groups and shelters do that is to ensure that they know that not only is the animal going to a good home, we're dealing with the life here. We're not dealing with a product that doesn't have a heartbeat. We're dealing with a living creature. And so I do think that steps should be in place to ensure that the animal is being placed not only in a home that can provide the care, but that the new owner or the new guardian is getting the animal that fits their lifestyle. And that's one of the things that rescue groups and shelters will do, is spend time with someone who's interested, because you may think you want a certain dog, a certain type of breed because of the way it looks, but it doesn't match your lifestyle. And if you can just walk into a pet store and purchase a dog without sort of knowing more about the breed and whether or not it fits your lifestyle, often what happens from the rescue side is that they are abandoned or they are dumped off at the shelter. So, I understand that it does take some work, and if you're in a hurry to get an animal, it might be a bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, those checks and balances are put in place for a reason.
Yes, it is frustrating if you've owned animals over 15 years and you feel that you have to.
Absolutely.
It's like being an adopted parent. Peter, thank you.
A responsible breeder will do the same thing.
Okay, let's go to Dwayne, our next caller from Victoria, on this. Should there be a ban in pet stores on cats and dogs and rabbit sales?
My belief, I think the pet stores should be regulated and monitored and have regulations in regards to how many, how they raise them or breed them or import the animals. And I believe on my side of the coin, from what I've noticed, I think the bigger problem would be the regular folks like myself and yourself just buying a puppy and breeding the dog to make a few dollars. A lot of people I've seen, they buy a couple of nice looking dogs or a couple nice cats, they have a dozen of them and they try to make a fast dollar and they don't care. I really believe that the idea of being screened, and like the last gentleman I called in said that he was screened quite thoroughly, I think that's great. I think it's great. I think the stores should have to do that, and I really believe our biggest problem is the regular folks out there buying an animal and trying to make a couple dollars, and or buying them, not making a couple dollars, and then they end up in the shelters.
Okay, Dwayne, thank you very much for your comments on that, and what you're pointing to is important, because apparently the number of puppies, for instance, sold through pet stores is tiny compared to what you're describing, the online sale or unregulated purchases of pets. Thank you for that. And Audrey's our last caller we have time for just before our news break on whether or not there should be a ban. Audrey?
Hi, Mark. I couldn't agree more with your guest that's on your program today. And I'm sorry the first gentleman had a hard time, but the things are put in there for a reason. And I've seen it all, and our shelters and rescue groups are absolutely bursting at the seams with dogs, cats, puppies and kittens, and please adopt from SPCA or rescue.
Okay, good point to end on. Kathy, you're going to be heard tonight. What do you expect Burnaby Council to do?
I'm optimistic. I do think they're receptive to hear this message now. They weren't so much a couple of years ago, but we're optimistic.
Thanks for taking our call today.
Thank you so much.
Kathy Powelson, Executive Director of the Paws for Hope Animal Foundation. And tell us what you think about banning sales of cats and dogs and rabbits at pet stores. You can send us an email, almanac@cbc.ca. It is 12:30, 1:30 in the Mountain Time Zone. We're going to be speaking to Leah Pales next, one of our most elite